Eat less, move more. Weight loss is that easy, right? You can eat anything as long as you eat it in moderation. I think most of us know from experience that weight loss is a bit more complex than that. Sure, you can dumb it down and say all that matters is that you're burning more energy than you're consuming. But this simplification does not take into account the satiety levels of different foods and how they impact our hormones. Certain foods are better than others when it comes to weight loss. And spoiler alert, lower calorie foods are not always better. So in today's video, I'm going to be giving you 5 of the best foods you can eat for weight loss. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name's Kate. I'm a certified health and nutrition coach. I post videos twice a week here on YouTube talking all things insulin resistance, weight loss, sleep, and more. So if you're ready to take control of your metabolic health, make sure to click that subscribe button. And you can also find me on TikTok and Instagram where I share new posts every single day. As I said at the start of this video, weight loss comes down to more than just focusing on calories. I think all of us have been in a position where we're trying to lose weight, so we're buying things that are labeled as low calorie. We took the skin off our chicken. We trimmed the fat off our meat. We threw out the egg yolks. We were snacking on rice crackers and low-fat yogurt. And how did that work out? I know for myself, I ended up hungry, cranky, and miserable. And I was only able to stick to this approach for no more than a few days, maybe a week at a time. Low calorie is not the answer. Low fat is not the answer. In my experience with myself and from working with clients, the focus should actually be on eating more and eating more protein specifically. And this stems from something known as the protein leverage hypothesis. Humans have a very high protein satiety drive. We will eat until our protein and nutrient requirements are met. When we are eating foods that are higher in protein, as in comparison to energy, it's hard to overeat. On the flip side, if you're eating foods that are low in protein and higher in energy, overeating is easy. And this is part of the reason why we are currently in the middle of an obesity epidemic. So much of the food we eat today that we are told is healthy is high in energy and low in protein, which leads to overeating and excess energy being stored as fat. Because at the end of the day, the energy that we're consuming, whether it's coming from carbohydrates or fat, can either be used immediately for energy or stored for later. If you consume more energy than what you can immediately use, it gets stored as fat. The other part to this is that nutrients help with satiety. If you eat a diet that's nutrient poor, you're probably going to find that you're constantly hungry as your body is begging for the nutrients it's missing out on. So a lot of the foods on today's list are going to focus on the protein leverage hypothesis because I think this is a huge reason why, number 1, we overeat to begin with, and number 2, we find it difficult to lose weight. Most of us are under-consuming protein. We should be aiming for 1 gram of protein per pound of our ideal body weight. So if our optimal body weight is 140 pounds, for example, we should be striving to eat 140 grams of protein in a day. And this is protein, the macronutrient, not the weight of the food. I know that confuses some people. If you can hit this goal or at least get close to it and feel satisfied, weight loss is gonna come easy. But enough chit chat, let's get into the top 5 foods you can eat for weight loss. Number 5, eggs. Egg yolks are rich in vitamins and minerals. They are rich in B vitamins and also fat-soluble vitamins, including A, D, E, and especially vitamin K2. And the egg whites are almost pure protein. Both of these factors together mean they are ideal for weight loss. One study done on 30 overweight women where participants compared one of 2 breakfasts, both of equal calories, concluded that compared to the bagel-based breakfast, the egg-based breakfast induced greater satiety and significantly reduced short-term food intake. The fear of egg yolks and cholesterol that we used to have, that is totally unwarranted. Fat doesn't make you fat. Cholesterol doesn't raise your blood cholesterol. And if you're worried about cholesterol, I'm gonna link a video up above that talks about current science that debunks these myths. Number 4, salmon. Again, salmon is packed with protein and it's packed with nutrients. In particular, salmon and seafood in general contain a good amount of iodine. Now, a lot of people nowadays, especially if you don't eat seafood, are not getting enough iodine. And one of the consequences of this is thyroid dysfunction. Iodine is required for thyroid hormone to be created. So if you're not getting enough iodine, then your body's not going to create enough of this hormone. And if you are someone who has hypothyroidism, I'm sure you're well aware how difficult it is to lose weight with this condition. So making sure your thyroid is functioning properly is super important. And eating foods rich in iodine, including salmon, can help you to meet your needs. I also have a whole video on signs you're iodine deficient and other ways to boost your intake, which I'm gonna link above. Number 3, butter and ghee. Now, this goes a little bit against the protein leverage hypothesis, but hear me out because these foods do have a very important place. In order for our bodies to use stored body fat, our insulin levels need to be low. Insulin is the hormone that's responsible for transporting excess glucose or sugar from our bloodstream to our cells. Now, whenever we eat, insulin is released, but some foods trigger more than others. Now, this isn't a bad thing by itself, but it becomes an issue when we're constantly eating throughout the day and we're constantly eating foods that trigger a lot of insulin to be released. Because of this, a lot of people have high insulin all throughout the day, and like I said, when insulin is high, we're storing fat and not burning it. And these high levels of insulin will ultimately result in us becoming more and more insulin resistant. And the more insulin resistant we become, the higher our insulin levels remain. And both of these factors contribute to making it difficult to lose weight. And this is important for us to know because 4 out of every 5 American adults has insulin resistance, although in a lot of cases it goes undiagnosed. So what I'm getting at here is that a huge part of losing weight is addressing underlying insulin resistance, which most people have. And the best way to do this is to eat less frequently, which means not snacking in between meals and potentially incorporating some intermittent fasting into your routine. Because ultimately, the way to reverse insulin resistance is to keep your insulin levels low as often as you can. Now, here's where butter and ghee come in. They are very low on the insulin index. They only trigger a tiny amount of insulin to be released when they're consumed. So for a lot of people, when they first hear of intermittent fasting, it sounds a bit overwhelming. The thought of skipping breakfast sounds a bit scary. But there's a variation of intermittent fasting called bulletproof fasting, where you basically add butter or ghee to your morning coffee. The high fat content keeps you full for several hours, and the butter does not raise your insulin. So consuming your coffee like this helps you to push your first real meal until later in the day, usually around midday. And you reap the benefits of intermittent fasting, including keeping your insulin low and improving your insulin sensitivity, but it's a lot more approachable and a lot easier to stick to, especially when you're first getting started. So we've spoken about how insulin resistance can make weight loss difficult, and we've also spoken about how having an underactive thyroid can make weight loss difficult. Both of these are hormonal issues that can potentially be standing in the way of you reaching your weight loss goals. So if you feel like there's something else going on, but you're not sure exactly what it is, and you're having a really tough time losing weight, I highly recommend Sowell Health's Weight Biology Kit. This is an at-home kit that tests 8 key biomarkers of your metabolic health, including your insulin, your glucose, your thyroid, and also your cholesterol. It can help you to understand the state of your current metabolic health and also give you some next steps you can take. Your test results are going to be reviewed by a physician, and within a couple of days of sending your tests back, you're going to receive a report outlining your metabolic health. I love this kit because it tests a lot of key biomarkers that a lot of physicians are hesitant to test, one of which being insulin. For whatever reason, doctors do not understand its significance. They think that looking at your fasting glucose alone is enough, when in reality, looking at fasting insulin can pinpoint metabolic dysfunction years before there's changes to your glucose, so you can get on top of it before it becomes a bigger problem. If you want to check out the Weight Biology Kit, you can head to hckate.com/getsowell. I'll also put the link in the description box down below, and you can use code KATE10 to save 10% off your kit. And I will just say that the kit is only currently available in the United States. Number 2, oysters. Now, this is one you might not have expected to be on my list, but I had to give a shout out to oysters because of their extremely impressive nutritional profile, especially when it comes to zinc. A serve of 8 oysters has over 6 times the daily recommended intake for zinc. And the reason zinc matters is because it's an essential component of over 300 enzymes that synthesize protein, fat, and carbohydrates. And therefore, it's very important when it comes to keeping our metabolism running properly. And like iodine, zinc is also required to create thyroid hormones. So you get a lot of bang for your buck when you eat oysters, which is why I had to include them on this list. And number 1 is beef. Of course, I had to include some form of red meat on this list. Now, beef and red meat in general have a bit of a bad reputation, which is completely unwarranted. More and more evidence is coming out showing that red meat is actually not bad for our health. It doesn't increase our disease risk, and actually the opposite, in fact. A 2020 meta-analysis concluded that whole fat dairy, unprocessed meat, eggs, and dark chocolate are saturated fatty acid-rich foods with a complex matrix that are not associated with an increased risk of cardiovascular disease. The totality of available evidence does not support further limiting the intake of such foods. So if you are someone who is avoiding red meat because you think it's unhealthy and you're on a weight loss journey, the good news is you can add it back in. It's great for weight loss because it is extremely rich in bioavailable protein and also vitamins and minerals. And those are the 5 best foods you can eat for weight loss. Let me know in the comment section down below if any of these foods surprised you. Are you going to start incorporating more into your diet if you're currently on a weight loss journey? Let me know in the comment section down below. I love chatting with you guys there, and I appreciate any time you leave a comment, even if it's just to say hi. And remember to check out So Well Health's Weight Biology Kit, which I will also put in the description box down below. If you did enjoy this video, you might also enjoy my video on whether or not carbohydrates are bad for weight loss. You can check it out here. If you want to catch up on my most recent upload, you can find it here. And if you want to check out my coaching programs, including my 7-day insulin resistance masterclass, you can find that here. Thanks guys, I'll see you next time. Bye.